thing with magazines, and you can see it, um, these milestone issues that mags do, as a general rule, tend to be shit. Um, they tend to be kind of like a really loosely packaged thing of greatest hits and
Hmm.
bits and pieces, and kind of a lot of self-congratulatory bullshit, and they rarely get done really well. So we kind of thought long and hard about it, and we don't actually own an archive set of all the mags. We've got our own mags that we've done, and that's it. So, but fortunately for us, there's a old guy up the road, Bobby Smith, who's a collector, and he's got a whole set
Wow.
from 62 all the way on. He's only like 3 blocks up the road here. So we figured, let's get access to the archive. Those guys came down. We rented a place just in the next street here, um, with a scanner, and and just went for it. And couldn't scan the whole lot because we'd still be there now doing it.
Yeah.
But we kind of cherry picked and went through and found all these interesting little, you know, obviously the iconic stuff, but then also you found like a lot of rabbit holey stuff as well, and stuff that had been consigned to history. So
Right.
yeah, and we ended up with like 2,000 scans, which we've used probably a couple of hundred of,
Yeah.
and then it just became a kind of curating job. And on top of that, then I thought, well, you can't just run the old stuff, so we had to have. So there's some big kind of long form written stuff in there to kind of anchor it and to get it to make sense,
Yeah.
basically. And the thing with Surfing World too is that, and it's probably the key difference between it and Tracks, is that Tracks is a bit of a chronicler of surf history. Like it's always, been like on the pulse, and it's telling you who's who in the zoo, and it's all the kind of unfolding of history as it goes. Whereas Surfing World's a bit more ephemeral and doesn't do that. It kind of just, it does its own thing.
Hmm.
So we weren't telling the story of Australian surfing with this thing. We were just telling the story of the mag,
Yeah.
basically, which made it kind of a lot easier in that regard.
It seems like circulation and advertising has grown for the magazine. Like it feels like more energetic now than it's ever been. So what does that look like now?
Yeah, well, good question. I'm asking myself the same question. We kind of figured that the anniversary issue would be probably a fork in the road where you could, because it'd probably generate a lot of interest, and because basically we kind of live hand to mouth a little bit with the mag. One mag makes enough to print the next and do the next. We don't take any money out of it, so we're just kind of letting it roll on at the moment, but that can't happen forever. And I don't think the magazine can happen forever. I think there's a cutoff point coming, probably a couple of years down the track for all magazines, where if you're only a magazine, you won't survive. Um, you're going to need some kind of digital business attached to you, that indulges you to do the magazine. And then you can just do it as a vanity project in the middle of all that.
Mm.
So what that looks like, mate, I couldn't tell you. I've thought about it, and I've got to act on it because it's driving me bonkers just doing this thing in my spare room at home.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was going to ask you about expanding into digital as well. I don't know that you can act on it. I feel like this is already a full-time job, even though it's officially a hobby for you. You would need to hire somebody, right? That had a concept and a vision and could work it.
Yeah, yeah. I think we'd have to open the door a bit because at the moment it's basically myself and John Frank, and Frank's in Spain at the moment. He's in Mallorca, and I don't know when he's due to get back. So we kind of need to open the door a bit and get some more people involved. And it probably needs to become a business to be honest. Um, but then exactly what that looks like, I really don't think, I don't think the world needs another like surf media business that goes out there and just aims at ubiquity to cover everything that moves. There's enough of them, but I think there's a place for something high end that you could do. Obviously, we kind of do high-end print, but you could probably translate that pretty easy into high-end film,
Hmm.
high-end content, um, and kind of remove it from the day-to-day stuff that seems to be pretty well covered. So, and that's the beauty. Like if once Frank gets back, because you've got probably the best the best surf filmer in the world, and he's sitting in Mallorca, which doesn't have any surf. I look at a lot of the other surf media, and it's great and all, but I don't think God, particularly at my age, the last thing I'd feel like doing is having to feed something daily and keep up with something daily,
Yeah.
and report on it and hot take it and post about it, and it just no thanks. We'll do something a little more slow burn, but it'll need to become digital at some point, or if it's just the mag, it'll probably just float away at some point in the next couple of years.
Which is really sad and disappointing, I think, because the 60-year legacy mainly. But I think that you're right. What you're envisioning or kind of describing, I think, has a lot of value in the surf world. And there's an open lane for you to kind of drive through if you wanted it. It's a matter of unpacking it, building it and unpacking it, and designing the business for it, and then funding that business for it. And it sounds like you are obviously the guy at the helm who would have to do all that, but you're already spread so thin that the amount of work to do it is the stop point. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's it.
It just needs another couple of warm souls in here to help out, I think.
I feel like somebody listening right now is the person who's like, I
We're
can bring in the
hiring.
financing and we can help you hire the right guy and we can do this.
Yeah, I'm open to offers.
Okay, good.
So
Good. Because I would hate to see the whole thing go away, of course. We've seen that happen so often
yeah,
in recent years, and it would just be, I think, I think it'd be a loss for surfing. So,
yeah, totally. Like that's we picked this up in 2020, basically, and a week later, Surfer closed.
right. That's right.
So it happened all at the same point, which was fairly seismic at that point in time. And we were kind of fairly adamant at that point. We kind of got handed this, but we didn't buy it. We kind of got it for 5 magic beans, and but it came with the sense of duty. Is what you alluded to just then, is that particularly that after Surfer went and this thing became the oldest mag in the world, just going, okay, right, we really need to keep this thing burning here.
Yeah.